Let go of me. What are you doing? Please don't take her, please. Stop it. Let go of me. You can't take the dog. Get your hands off him. Linda, our HOA president, truly believed she was untouchable. She acted like a judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one. In her mind, the neighborhood didn't belong to the residents. It belonged to her, so when she decided she didn't like my dog, she convinced herself she had every right to walk onto my property, destroy my locks, and take him. She treated my home like public land and my survival like an inconvenience. But Linda made one catastrophic mistake. She assumed she was stealing a pet. She had no idea she was committing a federal crime. Max isn't just a dog. He's a federally protected medical service animal. And taking him isn't a rule violation or a civil dispute. It's a felony that can carry up to 10 years in prison. At the time, Linda didn't know that. She was too busy standing in her driveway, smirking with a clipboard tucked under her arm, convinced she'd finally won. That smug smile disappeared the moment officers started reading the charges out loud. That was the exact second her entire world collapsed. This is the story of how unchecked arrogance cost one HOA president everything. And if you believe entitled neighbors deserve consequences, hit subscribe and stand with justice, because stories like this are just getting started. To truly understand why this crime was so serious, you need to understand who Max is. I suffer from a severe and unpredictable form of epilepsy. Before Max came into my life, every day felt like walking through a minefield. I couldn't shower alone. I avoided cooking. Sleeping terrified me because I never knew if I'd wake up. I lived in constant fear of my own body turning against me. Max changed that. He went through 18 months of intensive medical training to detect chemical shifts in my body. He can sense an oncoming seizure nearly 10 minutes before it happens. When he alerts me, I have time to sit down, secure myself, and call for help if needed. He has saved my life more times than I can count. He doesn't bark, he doesn't cause trouble. He works, but to Linda, Max was just an ugly dog. From the moment she was elected HOA president, she targeted us. It started small. Warning notices taped to my door. Then came the fines. $154 for excessive barking. Even though Max only vocalizes during medical alerts. Letters demanding I remove the animal. Threats about property values. I tried to be reasonable. One afternoon, I went to her house, carrying a homemade cake and a folder full of documentation, medical letters, and a paperwork. Certification records. I explained calmly, Linda, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, HOA pet restrictions do not apply to service animals. He's not a pet, he's medical equipment. She didn't even glance at the papers. She tossed them straight into her trash can. Then she leaned closer, her voice low and venomous. I don't care about your fake disability, she said. I run this neighborhood and I won't let dirty animals drag us down. One day you'll come home and that dog will be gone. I laughed nervously and walked away, trying to convince myself she was bluffing. She wasn't. The following Tuesday, I had a mandatory hospital appointment. Max gets anxious in medical environments, so for short visits, I leave him in a secure, climate-controlled kennel in my backyard. Because of Linda's threats, I had installed a heavy-duty steel gate and double-locked it with an industrial padlock. Still, I had a terrible feeling when I drove away. The appointment ran late. When I finally checked my phone, I saw 5 missed alerts from my Ring security app. My chest tightened. I opened the live feed and felt the blood drain from my face. There was Linda. She marched up to my gate holding massive red bolt cutters. No hesitation. No fear. One snap and the lock hit the ground. She stormed into my yard like she owned it. Max, sweet and trusting, wagged his tail. He didn't understand why a stranger was angry. Linda grabbed him by the collar. On the audio recording, her voice is crystal clear.
Finally.
Time to clean up this trash. She dragged Max to her SUV, shoved him inside, and drove away. I was 20 minutes from home. The shock sent my body spiraling. My hands trembled. My vision blurred. I was on the brink of a seizure, alone in a parking lot, because the one thing that kept me safe had just been stolen. With shaking fingers, I dialed 911. The operator began with routine questions. I interrupted her. This isn't just theft. A woman kidnapped my seizure alert service dog. I have life-threatening epilepsy. She stole my medical equipment. I could die. Everything changed instantly. Units were dispatched. I was told not to confront the suspect. I drove home praying I wouldn't black out behind the wheel. When I arrived, Officer Davis was already reviewing the footage. He was a K-9 officer. The moment he saw Linda cutting the lock and dragging Max away, his expression hardened. She has no idea what she's done, he said. Interfering with a service animal is a federal offense. This isn't a fine. This is prison. They tracked Linda's phone. She had driven toward animal control, but then turned around. She was heading home, so they waited. Linda pulled into her driveway, smug as ever. She stepped out, adjusting her blazer, completely unaware of the police cruisers nearby. When Officer Davis approached, she scoffed. "Oh, good," she said. "Alex finally called you." I removed the illegal animal, dropped it at the shelter. My heart shattered, but then Officer Davis glanced into her back seat. "Why is there a service vest back here?" he asked. Linda panicked. "I took it off. It was fake." "Open the trunk." She refused. He didn't need permission. Inside the trunk was Max, curled up, shaking. Terrified but alive. I broke down sobbing. Max immediately licked my face, checking me like he always does. Behind me, handcuffs clicked shut. Linda Smith, Officer Davis said, "You are under arrest for grand larceny, animal cruelty, and federal interference with a service animal." "You can't arrest me," she screamed. "I'm the HOA president." "Not anymore." Linda spent 3 nights in jail. She was removed from her position immediately. Facing a potential 10-year sentence, she pleaded guilty to a felony. She sold her house to pay $150,000 in damages. I used that money to build a fortified security system and safe enclosure for Max. Linda lost her home, her title, her reputation, and her freedom, all because she thought power made her untouchable and messed with the wrong dog.